Every morning, before most people even leave their beds, the competition begins. Notifications appear, messages arrive, videos autoplay, headlines demand attention, algorithms begin making predictions, platforms begin making decisions, and somewhere, thousands of companies are competing for a single thing: your attention. Not your money, not your data, your attention. Because attention comes first. Before someone buys a product, they must notice it. Before someone trusts a brand, they must discover it. Before someone follows a creator, they must stop scrolling. The modern internet runs on attention. Every platform wants it. Every creator needs it. Every business depends on it. And every year, it becomes more valuable. Because while technology continues expanding, human attention remains limited. There are more videos, more websites, more creators, more businesses, more information. But there are still only 24 hours in a day, which means something remarkable has happened. Information is no longer scarce. Attention is. And that simple reality may explain much of the modern internet. Today, we explore the global battle for your attention.
For most of human history, information was difficult to access. Books were limited. Knowledge was localized. Communication was slow. Information moved at the speed of physical transportation. Then, technology accelerated everything. Printing presses expanded distribution. Television expanded reach. Computers expanded access. And the internet expanded information itself. Suddenly, knowledge became abundant. Information became global. Communication became instant. The barriers collapsed. Humanity solved one of its oldest problems: access. But solving one problem often creates another. Because as information became abundant, something else became scarce: attention. Humans gained access to more information than they could ever consume, more content than they could ever watch, more opportunities than they could ever explore. And that changed the economics of the internet. The challenge was no longer creating information. The challenge became attracting attention. And that shift changed everything.
The battle for attention is not new. Newspapers competed for readers. Radio competed for listeners. Television competed for viewers. Advertising competed for awareness. But the internet transformed the scale of competition. Before the internet, media companies controlled distribution. A limited number of organizations controlled access to audiences. Today, anyone can publish, anyone can create, anyone can compete. A teenager with a smartphone can compete with global brands. A creator can compete with traditional media. A startup can compete with established companies. Participation expanded dramatically. And as participation expanded, competition intensified. More creators entered the market. More businesses entered the market. More content entered the market. The result was inevitable. Attention became increasingly valuable. Because while content expanded exponentially, human attention did not. And whenever demand increases faster than supply, value rises. The internet created the largest attention marketplace in human history, and most people participate in it every day without realizing it.
Most people think social media companies sell advertising, but advertising is only the visible layer. The real business model is attention. Platforms compete to capture it. Algorithms optimize for it. Businesses purchase access to it. Creators build careers around it. Entire industries depend on it. Attention is the fuel powering the digital economy. Without attention, content has no audience. Without attention, advertising has no value. Without attention, platforms lose influence. This creates powerful incentives. Every system begins optimizing for engagement. Every platform seeks more time. Every creator seeks more visibility. Every business seeks more reach. And beneath all of it, algorithms continuously decide what deserves attention, what gets recommended, what gets promoted, what gets ignored. The result is a hidden marketplace operating beneath the internet, a marketplace where attention functions as currency. And understanding that marketplace changes how you see the digital world.
Attention has always mattered, but in the modern internet, it has become measurable, trackable, optimizable. Every click, every view, every scroll, every pause, every interaction leaves a signal. And those signals allow digital systems to learn, not necessarily who we are, but what captures our attention, what keeps us engaged, what makes us stay, what makes us return. Over time, this creates feedback loops. People consume what attracts attention. Creators produce what attracts attention. Platforms promote what attracts attention. And attention itself becomes a powerful force shaping behavior. Not because anyone controls it completely, because millions of decisions compound together every day across billions of people. The result is a digital environment designed around engagement, a system constantly learning what people respond to and continuously adapting to deliver more of it. This creates opportunities, access to information, access to education, access to entertainment, access to communities. But it also creates challenges because human attention is finite, and finite resources become increasingly valuable when demand continues to rise.
Never before in human history have so many things competed for attention simultaneously. Messages, news, videos, advertisements, podcasts, emails, social platforms, streaming platforms, gaming platforms, educational platforms, business platforms. Every system wants a moment, a click, a view, a second. And individually, each request seems insignificant, but collectively, they create an environment unlike anything previous generations experienced. The modern internet is not simply a source of information, it is an environment of continuous competition. Competition for focus, competition for time, competition for awareness. And over time, that environment influences habits, expectations, behavior, even perception itself. Because attention determines experience. What we notice shapes what we remember. What we remember shapes what we believe. And what we believe shapes how we understand the world.
Attention may feel personal, but economically, it behaves like infrastructure. Entire industries depend on it. Businesses allocate billions to acquire it. Creators dedicate careers to earning it. Platforms are designed to distribute it, and algorithms increasingly determine where it flows. This creates an enormous hidden ecosystem, one operating beneath the visible internet. Most users see content, but underneath that content, systems are constantly competing for visibility. Recommendation systems decide what appears. Advertising systems decide what is promoted. Search systems decide what is discovered. And creators adopt to those systems. Businesses adopt to those systems. Entire industries adapt to those systems.
This is why attention is often compared to oil, not because it is identical, but because it powers activity. Without attention, the digital economy slows. Without attention, content disappears. Without attention, growth becomes difficult. The internet runs on infrastructure, and one of the most important forms of infrastructure is attention itself.
Every economy develops supply chains. Industrial economies moved materials. Information economies moved knowledge. The modern internet moves attention. A creator produces content. A platform distributes content. An algorithm recommends content. An audience consumes content. A business monetizes content. The cycle repeats again and again across billions of interactions every day. Most people only see individual moments, a video, a post, a recommendation. But behind every interaction exists a larger system, a global attention supply chain connecting billions of people across digital networks. And as digital activity expands, that system becomes increasingly important, because attention is no longer merely a psychological concept. It is an economic resource.
The future internet may not have an information problem. It may have a filtering problem. Information continues growing. Content continues growing. Artificial intelligence is accelerating production. Creation becomes easier every year, which means abundance will continue increasing, and abundance changes priorities. When information is scarce, access matters. When information is abundant, selection matters. The future internet may increasingly revolve around systems capable of filtering complexity, helping people discover what matters, ignoring what doesn't, and navigating overwhelming amounts of information. This gives recommendation systems enormous influence, search systems enormous influence, discovery systems enormous influence, because in an environment of abundance, visibility becomes everything. The future internet may not be defined by who creates the most content, but by who controls discovery, who controls visibility, who controls attention flows throughout digital ecosystems.
Artificial intelligence is introducing a new reality. Content can increasingly be produced at scale. Videos, articles, images, audio, design, software. Creation becomes faster, cheaper, more accessible, which sounds beneficial, and in many ways it is. But every increase in supply creates new pressure on attention, because attention does not scale the same way content does. Human attention remains limited. 24 hours today, 24 hours tomorrow, 24 hours 10 years from now. The imbalance continues growing. More content, same attention. More creators, same attention. More businesses, same attention. Which means the competition for attention may become one of the defining economic forces of the next digital era.
The most important consequences of the attention economy are rarely the obvious ones. Most people understand that companies want attention. Most people understand that creators want attention. Most people understand that platforms compete for attention. But the deeper effects happen beneath the surface. Because attention doesn't simply determine what people see. It determines what gets created. Imagine two ideas. One captures attention. One doesn't. The first idea spreads. The second disappears. Not necessarily because it is better. Not necessarily because it is more important, but because it attracted attention.
This creates a powerful feedback loop. Attention influences visibility. Visibility influences behavior. Behavior influences incentives. And incentives influence creation. Over time, entire ecosystems adapt. Creators learn what performs. Businesses learn what converts. Platforms learn what retains users. Algorithms learn what keeps people engaged. The system evolves continuously, automatically, relentlessly, and eventually, attention becomes one of the invisible forces shaping digital culture itself.
Human beings experience reality through attention. We notice certain things, ignore others, remember a few, forget most. Attention acts like a filter, and filters shape perception. Now imagine billions of people using digital systems that continuously compete for their attention. The effects extend far beyond screens, because attention influences conversation. Conversation influences culture. Culture influences decisions. And decisions influence society. The modern internet doesn't simply distribute information. It distributes attention. And wherever attention flows, influence follows. This is why attention has become one of the most valuable resources in the world. Not because it is rare, because it is limited. Every person receives the same allocation, 24 hours per day. No technology has increased that number. No innovation has expanded it. Human attention remains one of the few resources that technology cannot manufacture. And that limitation makes it extraordinarily valuable.
The next phase of the internet may intensify this competition even further. Artificial intelligence is increasing the supply of content. Automation is increasing the speed of creation. Barriers continue falling. Participation continues expanding. Every year, more people enter the digital economy. More creators publish content. More businesses compete online. More systems generate information. The result is predictable. Attention becomes even more valuable. But history suggests something else will happen. Whenever abundance increases, new infrastructure emerges. When information became abundant, search engines emerged. When websites became abundant, platforms emerged. When content became abundant, recommendation systems emerged. And as creation becomes increasingly abundant, new forms of attention infrastructure may emerge as well. New systems designed to help people navigate complexity, discover relevance, filter noise, and allocate attention more efficiently. Because every technological era creates new problems, and every new problem creates new opportunities.
For most of history, wealth was measured through land, then industry, then capital, then information. Each era elevated a different resource, a different source of value, a different foundation for economic activity. The internet transformed information. What was once scarce became abundant. Knowledge expanded. Access expanded. Opportunity expanded. But every solution creates a new constraint. And the internet's greatest success may have created its greatest scarcity: attention. Because attention is only valuable when someone pays attention to it. Content only matters when someone experiences it. Ideas only spread when someone notices them. And in a world overflowing with information, attention becomes the filter through which everything else must pass. That is why creators compete for it, why businesses invest billions to acquire it, why platforms optimize for it, why algorithms learn from it,
and why the modern internet increasingly revolves around it. Most people think they are using social media, watching videos, reading articles, browsing websites. But beneath every interaction, a larger system is operating. A global marketplace allocating one of humanity's most limited resources, human attention. The future of the internet may not be defined by who creates the most information, or who builds the most technology, or who produces the most content. It may be defined by who understands attention itself, how it moves, how it compounds, how it shapes behavior, and how it influences the systems beneath the modern internet. Because attention is more than a resource. It is a force shaping businesses, technology, culture, and increasingly society itself. Most people use the internet. Few people understand it. The deeper you go, the more invisible it becomes. The internet is changing humanity. We explore what happens next. This is NexNet, inside the modern internet.